Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bourbon Bites, whiskey reviews with an 80s twist. But today we are twisting it up even further with a really cool brand that I'm so excited to give a chance to try for the very first time here on the channel. As you can tell, based on the thumbnail and the title, we are at Knox and Dobson, which is a local to me, ready-to-drink bottled cocktail company. They're based out of Pasadena, California, very close to where I live. So I thought I would reach out to them and taste through their lineup. So as you see, we have 5 different expressions here. We're going to be going through them, but not without our very special guest. Please welcome co-founder and creative director of Knox and Dobson, Peter. Good to have you on.
What up? How's it going? Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, thank you for being here. So again, thank you for inviting me to do this. I've always loved finding local brands. Even, it's difficult to find distilleries out here, especially in the Southern California area. But even things like this, they're really shaking up the industry. And I think you talked a little bit how like the ready-to-drink market is kind of exploding now. So what a great time to kind of get into it. So tell us a little bit. You choose. Do you want to tell us about yourself first and your story, or do you want to tell us about the brand first? Because I'm going to ask both. So
yeah, either works. I'll tell you a little bit about the brand.
Okay.
We've got it right here in front of us. First of all, thanks heaps for including us and thinking about us for this. Never done a live stream before, so it's pretty cool.
These guys are great. I'll focus on the comments. Don't worry about them. I'll put them on the screen.
All right, sweet. Thanks again for coming and checking it out. So yeah, we're a very young brand. We've been launched for about 1.5 years now. We're an RTD cocktail brand. One of our main ethos is that we try and stay true to the original cocktail recipes. So all of these cocktails taste really close to what it's like getting a cocktail over the bar. We stand behind the ingredients and how we make them and the recipes, how we come up with them. We're an RTD cocktail brand. We launched with these bottles. They come with 2.5 servings per bottle.
Okay.
So it's like a little bit less than 8 ounces of cocktail in every bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes really far, when you spread it out and you start pouring on ice with friends, like
definitely.
They're full strength cocktails as well. We add a small amount of water to imitate dilution. So if you were to pour them cold and drink them neat, they'd still taste really great.
Gotcha.
But they're also strong enough and dense enough in flavor that they stand up against ice if you do pour them on ice.
Got it.
So so we're a cocktail brand. We're based out of Pasadena. We took a long time to develop. My partners Rob and Leslie Levy helped. They came up with the initial idea to do this bottled cocktail brand, and invited me to partner with them. And so I've been able to be part of like the visual identity of the brand. So I designed the label, the bottle. And
by the way, can we talk about this bottle? This is so cool.
Yeah.
That's what stood out to me. Like, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's like this really cool purple color. How did you come up with like not only the color, but you're gonna shine my eye. There we go. There we go.
Yeah, it's like a real bright purple.
Yeah. So what kind of went into? Let me save that question for later because we'll get into the design. So we're gonna talk about like your experience and what you bring to the brand. But I want to say hello to a few folks here in the chat. I know y'all are chatting it up already. I see some questions coming in. We're going to go through and answer some questions here shortly, but I just want to say hello to a few folks. Nick said he is pumped for this. Good to see Nick in the chat. Tony says, I hope there's a Manhattan in the lineup.
There is a Manhattan. It's right here for you. Oh, where is it? Right?
Yeah, so we'll be getting to that shortly. Our friend Whiskey Mountains, she is another whiskey YouTube channel. She's amazing. Y'all go check her out. Tony is drinking along with us as well. So great crowd here tonight. Looks like a lot to cheers tonight. Thank
you for welcoming me. Appreciate that.
Yes. So Adriana says, yay, thanks for coming on, Peter. Donnie is our amazing mod. Donnie, thank you for moderating. It's always hard whenever I'm like to do all this while I have a guest on. So appreciate Donnie in the chat, and I'm sure M will show up here later. Adam's here, Jeffrey's here, Mr. Jiggs is here. Wow, great turnout tonight. Whiskey Pear. Tony says, love that color. Is it purple or cobalt? Okay, well, let's talk about the bottles. Let's go ahead and go into it. People already asking.
Yeah.
So tell us about it.
Yeah, thank you, man. This is probably one of the most intriguing parts of this brand, and it's a bit of the story, like why we came up with it, how we came up with it. So, the idea was to create the classic cocktail recipes, but what to put it in. So another one of our ethos is the bottle and the presentation and the packaging needs to look good enough to have someone buy this cocktail once, and then the ingredients, everything that's inside the bottle needs to taste good enough to have someone buy it a second time. So I think we knocked the ball out of the park with the design. The San Francisco Spirit Awards last year, we didn't even enter their design category, but we won a gold for gold or silver, I can't remember, for design.
Oh wow! You didn't even enter it, but you still won.
Yeah,
they noticed how amazing they are.
So that was super cool.
Yeah.
And a little bit about the design. It's based off of that. We're trying to be like a nod to pre-prohibition era and apothecary medicinal kind of like whiskey lore without going to pre-prohibition. So we're kind of like taking a modern approach in terms of our design and whatnot. So that's why the hexagonal bottle. So really special bottle. We had to put it behind a white wall. You can see like a hexagonal shape. And all of these, different ridges and whatnot, to kind of give an elevated feeling to the bottle. There's also a really neat raised kind of area that shows the brand. That's on really the back side.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we had a designer that works with CAD drawing, 3D drawing, to take basically a back of a napkin sketch I had and turn it into a real bottle. But to source this glass, someone was asking about the glass, like, is it purple? It's kind of hard to see because, much like a medicine bottle, when it's they're brown, when you put it up to the light, it glows kind of amber. But when you put it in the darkness, it darkens up to black. It also helps with the light perversion, so it keeps the cocktails really fresh over time, as part of the reason why we did it. But also to be unique and choose something a little bit different. You don't see a ton of products out there using purple, so we just kind of thought that was a good way to, purple is a royal color, and it's somewhere in between cool and hot. So that's kind of how we got to purple and why. And if you look at a lot of these apothecary style glassware and ornamental bottles from that era, late 1800s, early 1900s, they all use that kind of a purple kind of look. So yeah, definitely a nod to all of that.
Yeah, very cool. I see Adriana said, does a cool bottling. I would draw my eye. Yeah, for sure. So do you guys sell them? Are they usually sold as like a part of a kit? Or do you guys do different sizes, or is this the typical size of them?
This is the typical size right now. This is a 200 ml bottle. So we are looking at doing other formats. We do sell them in kegs, 20-liter kegs to accounts, with a liquor license. But this is direct to consumer. This is how we launched with the bottle. This is how it's on our website. So this is, like our flagship lineup. And this is how we initially launched, was with the bottle.
Got it. Well, very cool. Well, let's go ahead and start getting something in our glass, shall we?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Which one are we going to start with here?
Yeah, so this is the gin martini. I usually kind of like to start the lineup light to dark, light to heavy. Everyone kind of knows that story.
Yeah.
So yeah, gin martini, Moscow Mule, Rye Manhattan, Old Fashioned, and the improved whiskey cocktail. Those are the 5. Moscow Mule being our newest. Start with the gin martini. Sure. So I'll get that going. I'm happy to chat while I'm getting this going.
Well, that's the great thing about these. Like they don't have to be drank, right out of the bottle. Like typically with RTD drinks, you do typically drink either a can or bottle. But these you can dress up on your own, which is great. If you have the garnishes at home, even if you're curious about just experimenting and trying to kind of see like what works, what your style is, this is a great way to do it, because you don't have to worry about the mixing of the cocktails. You just have it right there for you. So
absolutely.
So what is your process? So you typically pour it over ice and then give it a stir?
Typically, yeah. I mean, I think, these cocktails, they have enough, they're full strength cocktails, and they're made in a way that if you do give them a quick stir, like the Martini and the Manhattan, I do like to serve up. But a lot of people like them down. And honestly, if you just did that same gin on the rocks and poured it into a glass and put an olive on it, you'd be in business.
Right.
But I like to do them up. So I'll put it in a Yarai, but it's totally not necessary. You could pour them straight out of the bottle, or you could stir them down like I've just done. So that's not even half the bottle. It's not even half the bottle.
Right. You said it's about 2.5 servings.
Yeah, 2.5 servings, but
but like we just have 2 drinks here, and like you said, there's still plenty in the bottle.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, sorry. Thank you.
We have Nick off camera joining us, giving us some help. So
how could I forget the guys? Obviously olive or lemon, but I like to do a lemon and then drop it in there.
And I was looking at the bottle while you were making that. So this one right here is 34%. So these are no joke. These are like the proof that you would expect the cocktail to be. They're not like watered down version. You said you add a little bit of water to kind of imitate the dilution process, but it's still 34%. So.
Yeah, they're high proof. It's like if you take a cocktail at room temperature and you stir it down for the recommended 30 seconds, you usually get about 1/4 ounce to 1/2 ounce of dilution per cocktail. So we just accounted for that, added it into our bottle. So there's a very small amount of water in the bottle. But yeah, anyway. So I was just gonna get to a couple more comments about the glasses. Absolutely.
Over makes a great point. He says it'll never roll off the table either. Yeah, that's the great thing about
good,
the shape.
You
Yeah,
gotta take him sailing. Yeah.
Whiskey pair, I think we just mentioned you may be joining a bit late. He says 1 bottle, a serving for 2. So we just made 2 cocktails. There's still more than half here in the glass. So it really depends, I guess, on how heavy your pour is. Like this is more of a tasting pour, but I mean, how many ounces is it? You said
it's like it's
200
200
milliliters.
mils.
Gotcha.
So it's
Okay.
like close to 7 ounces of cocktail in there. And it, I drink the old fashioned a lot, and I just pour it onto 1 rock.
Mhm.
But you could easily do 3 sort of heavy tasting pour
Sure.
servings between 2 people, and one is nice. I like drinking one and then chilling for a bit and then having another.
Oh, for sure. Same.
They're all in that same range, like in the 30 to 40% ABV. So there's no adulterating.
That's awesome.
What's made well.
Yeah. So Tony had a question. She said, "Is it a dirty martini?" So what goes into this martini?
Yeah, great question. Thanks for asking. So we just do like an American style gin martini. So it's very light on the vermouth. We use a dry vermouth, heavy on the gin, and that's it. It's literally 2 ingredient cocktail. We don't add anything to the cocktails other than the ingredients that are listed on the front. So that one just lists dry gin and London dry gin and dry vermouth, and that's what we use. Yeah.
So if you can see, like, I know it's a little bit far from you guys, but if you see below martini, you can see what's in it. So, like you said, he lists all the ingredients that go into it on the bottles themselves. So.
Yeah. But no, we proudly say there's literally no coloring additives or anything funny going on. Just real cocktails, real ingredients. And we work with people that we like. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to trying it. Cheers.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, of course.
Cheers. Salud. Cheers, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and it's got that visceral kind of like little viscosity kind of. It's nice.
Yeah, the gin shines through. I mean, gin is more of my husband's thing. He's a huge gin drinker. I think he would love this. It serves as like a nice base. I see a comment saying so you can make it as dirty as you want. So yeah, you can add your own, like you said, if you want to add it, the olive brine, make it a dirty martini. Absolutely.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's really nice. So the gin is the most shine through part of it. I think
absolutely.
You can tell it's quality gin. It's not like some brands tend to put like malt stuff in versus the actual spirits. So
exactly, we work directly with spirit purveyors, and that's it. We don't try and replicate or we use just real raw ingredients. So and I think the simpler the better. I think every cocktail we come out with has a maximum of 4 ingredients, but most of them have 3.
Nice.
So yeah.
That's awesome.
It's a nice way to do it.
So let's talk a little bit about kind of the process of making these. So I assume you guys get the spirits. So you guys aren't a distillery, right? You guys don't distill it yourself. Do you guys have like partner distilleries that you work with, that you source it from? Not that you have to, name names or anything, but just I'm curious to hear about the process.
Totally. Yeah. So the process is usually, and I kind of have to be careful. My partners get a bit.
No, that's what I'm saying. You don't have to name names.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But we're also very transparent in that way. I like to say, we work with purveyors that make good quality products, and we source them in large amounts, and then we work with co-packers to bring those flavors together. We're in the process now of working out how we can bring that all in house. We're going through some licensing and whatnot, so we might be able to in the future mix some of these cocktails in house, and maybe in the future we'll be distilling our own stuff as well. But for now, we work with purveyors that we like. And some of those people are like, we're partnered with maraschino liqueur, which a lot of bartenders know, and that goes into our improved whiskey cocktail. And we work with a rum producer named Crafted, who's out of Florida, and he makes a really great rum that we work with. We're currently working with some other purveyors for rum as well. And we get our whiskey by the barrel. We age some of our whiskey in Kentucky in big rick houses. Okay. And then we cycle it through. So we'll bring like a 2 or 3 year whiskey in a barrel to our warehouse in Pasadena. Got it. And then we'll take our recipe, and from those large raw ingredients, we will create the cocktail recipes, and they go straight into the bottle. So there's no laboratory reworking of trying to mimic the taste of. It's more like finding raw ingredients that we like, bringing them in house, right, and then creating the drink from there. Well,
I think I noticed that you guys kind of stick with the classics, right? I mean, you have the martini, you have the I'm trying to look at the labels and feed, but you guys have like such a classic lineup. How did you pick which ones you're going to start with. Like you said, the newest one is this.
Moscow.
The Moscow Mule is the newest
Yeah.
one. But how did you pick which cocktails you were going to start with for the brand?
Yeah, so that was a very long, involved process. My partners and I probably have been to at least somewhere between 50 and 100 tastings to try and get this right. But yeah, in all honesty, we've been working on this project for over 10 years.
Oh wow.
We started making the first cocktails over 10 years ago. Then there was probably a 3-year break when the world went to shreds with COVID, obviously, and then picked it right back up after that, and got organized to get launched about a year and a half ago. So,
okay, I was actually about to ask you, when did you guys start? So a year and a half ago. Wow.
Yeah, but to get the cocktail, so back to your question, sorry, to get the cocktail recipes, I bartended for 15 years. My other partners, Rob and Leslie Levy, they owned a restaurant, very well known Pasadena staple. The restaurant had a very highly regarded cocktail bar named 1886. So the restaurant was called the Raymond, and the bar was called 1886. So a culmination of my partners being from the industry, me being from the industry, and us having a vision of bringing craft cocktails into the bottle. So that's kind of, the backstory of where we came from. And then when we actually decided to make the drinks, it was really, for me, about 3 and 4 ingredient cocktails, not getting, a lot of bartenders will tell you some of the best drinks are 3 ingredients, like a Negroni or like a daiquiri or like an old fashioned. So we focused on that. And then that led us to a lot of really great classics. And when we said we should have an old fashioned, that was like a no brainer. Like, we have to do an old fashioned.
Of course.
And, one of our other partners, Lawrence Moore, she really loves a martini. Is like, we got to do a martini. So a lot of them came from us wanting to make drinks that we like to drink.
Sure, of course.
So, yeah, and I think that kind of shines through because people taste them and they're like, wow, these are actually really good. Because we make an effort to do a high quality kind of product here.
Definitely. So we have some people that are kind of all over. So I'm kind of curious to hear about where you guys are, like, in markets right now. I know you're, of course, here in California, but I'm curious here. Now we have some people all the way from Australia. I imagine you guys aren't in Australia yet.
Not yet. Well, actually, I sent one bottle down there, but we're not officially. Not yet. But if you can help make that happen, hit us up.
That's why it's my good friend Chris. He said, calling up from down under, we are lurking as cleaning up the house and having the smoker going. Oh man, they love their barbecue there. So he says he's with the Mixers brand ambassador for Australia.
Very cool. Yeah, so Mixers, that's a good whiskey. I love that one.
It's a great one. Very cool, Chris. Thank you for stopping in. People already asked about the rum. They said they're working on it. I don't know if they can reveal what they're working on yet.
Yeah, but. We're working on a daiquiri. We just came out with the Moscow Mule, so we're pushing that right now. But that'll be coming soon, the daiquiri, and then we have a couple other cocktails we're working on too.
Awesome, cool. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. I know I asked a question about where you guys are available, but I'll let you do this. I know we're trying to keep up with time here.
Well, as far as like where we're available, is it cool to plug the website or? Yeah. So
I already have it in the description. They can click on it. Yeah.
So the website shows you exactly where our stockists are. But if you're in Southern California, it's really easy to find us. We're in Bristol Farms, Total Wine, and a bunch of local liquor stores. And we're also in a few hotels and whatnot. So you just got to keep an eye out for the purple bottle. Hit us up. You can DM us on Instagram. You can find us on our website. You can email info@Knox and Dobson. And any of that will always reach back out to you, let you know where you can find us. You can also shop directly from our website, which is pretty cool.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and I think it's like 45 states.
Gotcha.
So
very cool.
We'll ship to most states. If you go onto our website, you just click on the cocktail you want, add the cart, and put in your address, and do payment, and it'll get shipped to you.
That's awesome. I love seeing that pop up, especially with smaller brands. I imagine that helps a ton because
massive. Yeah, because we can't. As you know,
did that kind of come from COVID? Because I feel like that wasn't really a thing before COVID, like in terms of shipping
online. Yeah, I think it was kind of slept on. Yeah, I think it was happening a little bit. Because you had those boutique liquor stores.
Right.
There's one in San Diego. I can't remember the name of right now, but there's a few boutique liquor stores that were shipping booze around.
Right.
But it wasn't. It wasn't like highly regulated, wasn't highly done, wasn't highly talked about, but yeah, I'm really happy. It's like those restaurants that still do to go.
Right, to go cocktails. Yeah,
it's a blessing. It's like some of the things that stuck around from COVID that we're happy with.
It's so interesting to see how much that culture changed and how people adapted, especially bars. I mean, there were places out here, especially in California, we had some pretty strict regulations where bars had to serve food, so people started selling hot dogs or something like super easy, or like a bag of chips.
True. Yeah.
Now it's a little bit cheating, I get it, but hey, we made it through. So far. So this is the next one. This is the newest one you guys have. This is the Moscow Mule.
That's
so
Moscow Mule.
Ingredients, I don't know if you guys can see that. Vodka, ginger, and lime. So really simple.
Yep. And so this is our newest cocktail and our first rendition that has citrus. So I know I'm speaking to a crowd that's pretty familiar with the booze they drink. So this is the first one that we did that was more like a shaken cocktail. All of the other four are more stirred and booze heavy.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of like a new style of drink that we're starting to incorporate into our line. So before the Moscow Mule, we just had these spirit-based cocktails.
Sure.
And this was the reason for that is it's very, very difficult to figure out how to get citrus to sit in a bottle and not go bad. So we made a lot of adjustments and stayed in the lab for a while and figured out how to make lime. And so now we have lime, ginger, and vodka. And when you have time, you top it off with a bit of soda water, and if not, you just straight into your cup.
There you go. Yeah. So just Chris actually. So sorry, before we get to it. So he actually has a shipment coming down to Australia from LA. So he's saying like, oh, maybe I'll introduce it to my liquor store friends down here. So maybe I'll connect you guys.
Yeah, do it.
Our friend Zoe, he's in San Diego. I think you were saying there's a store in San Diego.
Yeah, that's the one. Who just said that?
Yeah, so he's based in San Diego.
Yeah,
so,
that was the one I was thinking. They were always.
And Adrian's like stupid Utah. I think it's one of the 5 states that doesn't allow it.
Oh man. Okay, yeah.
Adrian, when you're in Vegas, maybe you can pick it up there. This is a great question. She also asks, was this one difficult to get to work since it has citrus? I love a citrus-based cocktail.
Totally. Yeah, that has been the number one biggest challenge. And the reason why we started with all spirit-based cocktails is because we weren't happy with how citrus tastes. We kept getting offered and finding flavorings, and we're not going to settle for flavorings.
Right.
So we figured out how to make lime juice shelf stable, and that I can't go into great detail.
Tell me more, because I go through lime juice so much.
Yeah, but as much as I'm saying it like a secret, it's not that much of a secret. There's a lot of bartenders and maybe some brands starting to do a very similar thing to it that we're doing. Okay. But I'll let people catch up to that at their own pace.
Exactly.
Because
you never know who's watching.
And you taste some of these cocktails, and I'm not here to dump on other brands, but I just really think that if you taste this Moscow Mule and the daiquiri when it comes out, this is a really great representation of what a shelf-stable citrus cocktail can taste like.
Oh, awesome. Well, I can't wait to try it. Cheers.
Solid. Thank you. Cheers.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That tastes just like a fresh-made cocktail.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, adding the bit of the, was it soda water?
Yeah, just a little.
It kind of gives it that kind of what you would expect more, because obviously you can't carbonate this. But adding a little bit of something like that kind of brings that energy, and it tastes like just as good as one at the bar.
No, you're right, and that was a big thing that we were talking about, because is it a Moscow Mule? It doesn't have club soda in the bottle. It's not carbonated.
Sure.
But if you drink it like this, it's a Moscow Mule, and if you don't drink it like this, you just pour it on ice. It's still a really good Moscow Mule.
It's not what you expect.
Yeah, it's not technically a Moscow Mule because you didn't put club soda in it, but
like that's something that people can have. Like they'll have around the house, or we have a soda stream at home, so we can always make it. So.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah, I saw. Donner Pass Whiskey said he sees that there are 3 available in Sacramento, California. Total Wine. Very cool.
There you go.
I have some new purchases coming in today.
Yeah.
So
if they run out, we better make sure they re-up.
Awesome. Well, yeah, this is so good. So this one, you said the newest one. How often do you guys kind of experiment? And obviously not everything you guys experiment makes it to the shelves. Have there been any ones that I don't want to say that you're trying to perfect, but have there been certain ones that you've tried and you just that doesn't work as a ready to drink cocktail?
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. So we have an opportunity to make a smaller batch run with a client that's been reaching out to us, and we're trying to work through it. And so the client's requested to have a Negroni.
Okay.
And so we've set out to start making it how we usually do. Sourcing ingredients and then creating a recipe and moving forward to formulation. Mm-hmm. But turns out it's very hard to get some of the ingredients that are in a Negroni. So that would be one that we definitely struggled with for a bit. I just today tasted some with Nick and the co-founders that we're really, really happy with. So, yeah, I think, that sometimes those cocktails pop up that you're like, man, like, how could we even do this,
Sure.
especially on a large scale? And sometimes you have to kind of just walk away and choose a different cocktail.
Right.
But then sometimes, things just work out. In this case, with the Negroni, we might do a smaller run for a hotel that we're partnering with. So we're also looking at that in the future to partner with smaller, partner for smaller runs, so we can kind of, give people other options that aren't necessarily part of our core line. So that's kind of part of the idea of where we're going.
Yeah. So when you partner with hotels, I'm just curious, like, do they just sell, like, is it kind of like they give the whole bottle to the customer? I'm just curious to hear, like, what that process, or do they just literally pour it straight out of the bottle? I'm just curious to hear, like, how they would do that.
Totally. Yeah. So I think hotels has been a really great application for us. We're in the Hard Rock Hotel, Ace Hotel, and a bunch of other ones that have slipped my mind right now. But they work really, really well in mini bars. So any homies out there that have friends at hotels that want to hit us up, like,
that's a great. I didn't even think about mini bars. This would be great. Yeah,
they
Vegas
kill in mini bars.
Vegas would like that perfect market.
Absolutely. So that I think is a really great application for them. And then at hotels with more high volume, as I was saying before, we sell them in kegs as well, 20-liter kegs, and they're priced really, really competitively. So it makes a lot of sense. You've got this really consistent cocktail on tap. Typically, you don't get the best. Well, depending on which hotel you're at, it's not super often that you get really great cocktails from hotels. So by having a more consistent style cocktail but on tap, that could be another way that we serve hotels and whatnot.
Yeah. So Emily actually dropped the link to your website there, so you guys go check them out. Look at their selection. Like you said, you can actually order bottles online. So if you guys are not in a state that has it locally, definitely check that out.
Yep.
I lost my train of thought. I had something I was going to say. Well, I lost. That's what happens on a live stream. So I lose it. But
that's all good.
Well, I guess let's go ahead and it'll come to me maybe when we move to the next one.
Yeah,
so let's get into it. So these are all the whiskey focused ones, right? So
these others, yes.
So let's move on to the next one. This is the. I'll try to hold it up there. Yeah. This is the Rye Manhattan, which is interesting that you went with the rye, because a lot of people debate, which bourbon or rye works better with the Manhattan. I know rye is the traditional one.
Yep.
What was the choice to go with this one? By the way, for you guys that didn't see it, it's made with bitters, vermouth, and rye whiskey. So that's all that's in there.
Yep.
So
yeah, that's all that's in there. Thanks for checking it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, with that one, we use, as I was talking about before, we source whiskey from purveyors that we like working with. And in this instance, we have a 2 to 3 year rye whiskey. It comes in real hot. I think it's around 120 proof in the barrel, and then we proof it down to just above 80 before we turn it into a cocktail.
Okay.
And for this one, why we went with rye, kind of spreading out the whiskey in the category. So, we have the old fashioned. We wanted to do that with bourbon.
Right.
We kind of decided that first. So then when the Manhattan came second, it was kind of natural that, let's just do it with rye. Also, as you mentioned, that's the classic way to make it. So, us trying to be true to the classic cocktails, we went with rye. But I think it's a great way to enjoy it. And, we've had a lot of people try the Manhattan and be happy with it. So get one going here for you.
Awesome. Actually, I remember my question now.
Okay. Yeah.
It was because you mentioned the fact that it was cost effective to do the batch cocktails for the hotels. Let's speak about like pricing. I know it varies depending on your area, but like about how much are they all around the same price or?
Yeah, they're all the same price.
Okay.
They're retail for $15. So
okay.
Our suggested retail price. Most places you see retail for $15. When you go into places like hotels and whatnot, obviously the price changes a bit. But if you get it off our website, it's $15. And if you get it in the store, Bristol Farms sells them for $14.99 or something. So,
sure.
Yeah. They're right in there, right?
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a great price point.
Yep.
I just see people like saying like, yeah, it's such a convenience to do for bartenders.
Yeah. For bartenders too. Yeah. We're gonna come back to that. Yeah.
Yeah. So Zophar actually said he actually was at a wedding recently that had bottled cocktails at the reception, and they were super convenient and they were a great selling point. So yeah, weddings. I think that's a great.
Weddings would be huge too. Absolutely.
For sure. Oh, now Chris is like, kegs would be easier to ship for my friend's bar. Okay, Chris, don't get ahead of yourself. I don't think I knew that.
We got you, bro.
Tony says, so Tony is drinking a Manhattan along with us. Very cool.
Gotcha.
Everyone's so excited for the rye. They're very excited. So Donnie asks, is the Manhattan sweet? Sometimes they are too sweet for me. So I'm curious to hear. Well, I guess I'll be trying it here shortly to tell you, Donnie. So I know, like you said, you work with different partners to source the spirits. Is there any info you can tell, like whiskey, like you tell a state of the whiskey's from, anything like that? Is it Kentucky, or is it? If you're not, it's okay. I'm just curious. These guys know if you tell them a state, they'll probably know.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Honestly, we get it. We go with what tastes good, so it's coming from different places all the time. But some of it originates in Kentucky.
Okay.
And some of it we get from elsewhere.
Okay.
But it really depends on mostly on flavor. So
Sure.
we'll get ship samples, we'll taste from there, and that's eventually we'd like to be in a place where we
of course,
can source can source from one and can make our own. But for right now, we just go with what tastes good and what's within the age range, because we don't want something that's aged 4 or 5 years or longer going into a cocktail.
Gotcha.
We try and stay in that 2 to 3 year age range.
Okay, gotcha. Very cool. And then the by the way, I forgot to mention the ABV on the Moscow Mule. This one was 20%, which makes sense. I mean, it's more of like a
that's right
over ice. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up. Just to skip back to the Moscow Mule real quick. It's 20 ABV, and we love having it a little lower proof. Okay. Because all these other ones are closer to 40.
I see.
So a lot of people that are like curious and like they want to try Knox and Dobson, but they're not like
you don't want to like blow their palate.
They're not like big whiskey drinkers.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, they're more inclined to try the Moscow Mule. So that's it's been really great having that second option for them. So yeah.
Yeah, so Tony's saying $15 is a great price. Cheers to that.
Cheers, thank you.
Zover said the first time he ever had a Manhattan was with me, apparently, at a whiskey bar. So yeah, when I was down in San Diego, I met up with him. That's very cool. Beach Sand Bourbon says, cheers from 30,000 feet, just about to land back in Michigan after a trip to Vegas. Oh, it's people joining us from airplanes.
Oh, wow, cool.
Hey, I appreciate y'all tuning in.
Yeah.
$15 for a party in a bottle. There you go. Adrian asks, dumb question, but if you don't stir on ice first, should you shake up the bottle first a bit? So you said these are typically chilled, right? Like, what's your recommended serving like?
Yeah, I guess it depends if you want your cocktail up or on the rocks. But either way, it's great to have the bottle pre-chilled. I just didn't pre-chill these too heavy because I didn't want the bottles to get too frosty for the camera. But I think keeping them, talking about bartenders and bartenders wanting to drink. You keep a few of these in the fridge or the freezer, and you get home after a long shift. It's nice to just like break one out and just drink it neat or on the rocks. But yeah, definitely chilled. They're not, that's 100% the way I'd recommend drinking them is chilled. And I like to drink them on the rocks too because they, as I've said, before, they really do stand up against ice. You can put hotel ice on it. You can put pebble ice on it. You can put a large block. It tastes good on all of it because the flavor is dense enough where it can stand up to the dilution. So
that's the thing. Like they're still easier than making a cocktail from scratch. I mean, I think we can all relate to like those long days at work. You want to get home, you want a cocktail. You can either grab a beer or you can do something like this. Be a little more fancy. Yeah. Grab some ice, like pour this, and there you go. There's your cocktail.
That's the other thing it's great for is like when you're having people over to your house and like you don't know how much time it takes to like. When you're entertaining people, like cleaning the house,
or everyone likes something different, right? Like you may have whiskey drinkers, but someone might want a martini. Like, well, here you go, easy way to do it.
Yeah, and it's a great way to kind of make sure your guests get something interesting and fun without having to make a whole extra step of
just for one person
choosing and sourcing ingredients. And some of these ingredients are really expensive by themselves too. So it's nice to have just. Sometimes you don't want a bottle of vermouth sitting in your fridge
just because one friend that might show up randomly. Yeah. Well, and it's also nice to I think for me, I do a lot of weekend trips. So like packing something like this in your luggage or like your suitcase, you already have a cocktail waiting for you when you arrive, which is really great. So
yeah, just went camping this past weekend.
Oh, nice.
Had a free cooler just completely full of beer. And as I was leaving, I was like, wait a second, something's not right. So I grabbed like 3 bottles of Knox and Dobson, but just breaking that out at the end of the night when the campfire is going and just pouring a little bit in everyone's tin cup with a little bit of ice.
Oh, that's awesome!
Sitting in the desert, pretty sweet.
And my friend Andrea that I keep shouting out, her channel is called Whiskey Mountain. So what she does is she does hiking paired with different whiskeys.
Oh, sick!
So now she's very excited. She's very much like
absolutely for camping. Yeah,
absolutely.
So, let's do it.
So she's very excited. So. Okay, well, so this is the Rye Manhattan. What was the ABV on this one? Just so you can see, 38%.
38,
Okay, so all right, let's go and give it a try.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys. I know what I'm going to say, but I want to hear what you're going to say.
Well, I'm thinking back to Donnie's question, saying, was it too
Is
sweet?
it sweet?
It's not that.
It's
sweet.
not. It's dry.
Yeah,
right?
it's definitely dry.
It's
yeah,
kind of dry, and I think that's what people want. You know what I mean? It's like if you want sweetness, you'll drink something sweet. I think our old fashioned and our improved whiskey cocktail, although I still believe they're fully balanced, they're on the sweeter side. Whereas this, I think, it creates a nice middle point between the two.
Is it so? I know like there's a variation of Manhattan called like the Perfect Manhattan that has both sweet vermouth and dry vermouth. Do you guys do a bit of that, or is it like a specific type of vermouth that you guys use for it? Or
yeah, we don't do a perfect. That Perfect Manhattan is cool too. We just do the classic recipe.
Okay.
1 ounce of vermouth, 2 ounces of rye whiskey, and Angostura bitters. And proud to say we use real Angostura bitters, which is
nice.
Is really fun. Because we tried and we thought about trying to recreate that flavor. And
they're classic. I mean, I think that's
win.
Yeah,
you
no,
can't win that. Yeah,
nothing compares. You got to have that.
Yeah, so we're super stoked to be able to use that in all of our cocktails that call for bitters. We use Angostura.
And by the way, if you guys didn't see, he dressed it up with a bit of a cherry here too, which is of course a classic way to have a Manhattan.
You gotta have a cherry.
You got to, yeah. And that's one way. If you are someone that maybe likes a sweeter Manhattan, you can always add a little bit of cherry syrup from the. Absolutely. I do that sometimes. Not gonna lie. So I do add a little bit of sweetness there too. But yeah, This one, I mean, the vermouth is actually the star of this one. Actually, that's like the most dominant. Like, I mean, obviously the whiskey, right?
Yeah.
But the vermouth really stands out as like
it carries it through. Right?
It does. It almost, it's interesting because like this. I guess I'm just thinking about someone mentioned like a dirty martini earlier. This kind of carries the character of a martini. I don't know. Maybe it's just because of that vermouth being so vermouth forward. But
totally. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. You taste it. It's not hidden in there.
It's a very easy drinker too. Like I think even someone that may not be like a whiskey cocktail person, they could enjoy this one.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. We find people constantly coming up to like, we do a lot of like large scale events and people come up and they're like, oh, I'm not like a huge whiskey drinker, but I want to try something. Like, where should I start? And a lot of the time we just serve the old fashioned or the Manhattan, and people are like, wow, like these are actually really good. And everyone's always kind of surprised. We're happy for that.
Well, and that's the thing. I think it's something I've always said on the channel. Like, some people may not be people that drink whiskey neat. Some people may not be someone that drinks over ice. People may just drink cocktails. Like, there's like not a wrong way to drink it. And I think this could be a nice way to introduce someone into the flavor profiles that you expect from a whiskey cocktail. But not gonna like blow their palate like cask strength whiskey like I normally drink on the channel. So it's definitely an easier way to go into it. Well, this is really nice. All right. Well, if you guys, by the way, if you guys have any more questions, please feel free to shout them out in the chat. Bourbon Syndicate is asking where for the after party. So for those of you who don't know, I do a Patreon only after party after every live stream. It's on Discord. I'm gonna do it, but I gotta drive out to my hotel first. It's literally right across the street. So I'm gonna go head over there. So we'll be a little bit later. You guys can get started on Discord. That's for everyone $10 and up on Patreon. If you guys are curious, I'll drop a little banner down here on how to get in on that. There's a 30-day free trial if anyone wants to give it a try. But thank you to everyone that shows up to that every Thursday. I guess I'll go into my plug since someone gave me a reason. So on Friday, we are doing our monthly movie night where we're watching Caddyshack. I've actually never seen Caddyshack.
Oh, really?
I've never seen it.
Well, I'll have to give you guys some Knox and Dobson to drink with.
Okay. So yeah, I've never seen it. I basically do an 80s movie night just because I was born in the 90s. So I missed a lot of the 80s movie culture. Yeah. So I rely on these guys to tell me what movies to watch. So this month's theme was I was like, let's do a sports movie. I gave a few options, and this was the top vote. So I'm really excited. So that's for everyone, $5 up on Patreon. Join us on Discord. Again, free trial down below. So looking forward to seeing that one. I've heard so much about it, so I can't wait to finally see it.
Yeah, no, it's a good one.
Zova said I took several sips of that. Hey, that's true. I did not finish this one, but not because I'm trying to get the stream moving, guys. I have an hour here.
There's also 5 cocktails.
That's true. That's true. So Tony says, my Manhattan is on the sweeter end with the cherries and syrup from the jar, but the Powers Irish Rye is really strong. Oh, so use an Irish. Oh, that's interesting. Use an Irish Rye for that. That's interesting. Yeah, I love trying variations of cocktails.
Totally. Yeah. We go. I mean, I don't think I've had an Irish Rye before, but yeah, I'm down to try one.
I don't think I've either. I've had the only thing I was getting confused with the Johnny Walker Rye, but that's the Scotch.
Oh, that's
like different. Yeah,
that's the high Rye.
So no, that's interesting. I've never had that one. But you have to let me know how it is.
Cheers, prescription bourbon.
Oh yeah, prescription bourbon is here in the chat. Oh yeah, there's another channel here. There's so many whiskey channels out there, you guys. And I appreciate y'all tuning in and watching us here. Oh, yeah. We got 2 more cocktails to get through. I'm gonna Okay, well, don't judge me for this. I'm gonna finish this
Yeah.
while we move into the next one. So what are we drinking
Absolutely.
next?
Yeah. So next is like the old fashioned for sure, like one of our flagships. This one is like if I only get a chance to taste someone on one of our lineup, I'll serve them the old fashioned. I think it's I won't go on and on about it. I'll pour one for you.
Yeah.
But but yeah, this one's super fun to prepare because you literally just put it on the rock. This is room temp right now, so I'll just take 2 large blocks. Rock slice. Let me see if I can get that in.
By the way, I gotta shout out your ice. So is this a local company that does it?
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for mentioning. Yeah, big shout out to Penny Pound, Penny Pound Ice. They're super cool. They work with us. They hit us up with large blocks. Yeah, they're the OGs in LA.
Yeah, it's hard for you guys to see, but these ice, it's beautiful, honestly. And I've heard so much about them. I know a lot of really nice cocktail bars use them as well. So yeah, look at that, perfect. It's literally perfect. Yeah, so I thought so when I saw them. Like, oh yeah, that definitely looks like that. But
yeah, major really shout out to them. Nick and myself, we're big fans of Penny Pound. Just crystal clear ice, and they have every kind of ice, and they can do anything with it. So super cool. Oh yeah, you got to show
rubber ducky. Okay, now I'm interested. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wait.
Like for example, this one that has rubber ducky frozen inside of it. Anyway, so yeah, old fashioned.
Yeah,
that's what I love about this one. I was literally drinking this past weekend. That's like a 2.5 ounce kind of pour. That's like half the bottle.
Also 38%, by the way, for those curious. I know these guys are always curious about things like that. So
38 ABV. I just give it literally 1-2 stirs to just activate it and start chilling it down a little bit. But I don't stir it. I don't stir it to dilute it. Just stir it to kind of activate it and get it a little bit chilled in the glass. Yeah. Awesome. So sorry. Old fashioned.
I always forget the camera's I'm gonna keep doing it. So,
there it is. Yeah.
Bourbon whiskey, bitters, and real sugar.
Yeah. So we don't no fake ingredients. Angostura bitters, 2 to 3 year bourbon. And thank you, garnish. Can't forget the garnish.
Again, shout out to Nick off camera.
Yeah, shout out to Nick off camera for real. Putting all this together as well. Thank you.
Everyone's excited about the rubber ducky ice. Yeah. You guys go check them out. Like,
check them out here. Yeah. Can we tag them? Penny Pound or whatever.
Yeah, so if someone has the link to it, drop it in the chat for sure. Oh, that's fine. There's actually a channel. There's a channel that used to. I don't know if he still makes videos. His name is Bubble Bath Bourbon. And what he does is he like sits in his bathtub and reviews different whiskeys. You don't see his face. You just see his legs in the bathtub. And he has like whiskey. And he always has rubber duckies. Someone said that's his perfect ice. That
they should connect.
They should connect for sure. Cool. I saw another question. Oh, where did it go? So Donnie's joining us. He said he had to make an old fashioned from Bullet's old fashioned, added orange. Oh, so yeah, Bullet's another brand that does the ready to drink cocktails.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I
saw, and now I'm forgetting. Oh, well, that's a great question. Yeah. So which is the one that you find yourself pouring the most often?
Damn, that's a good one. That's tough, man. I'll probably say the old fashioned or the improved whiskey cocktail.
Okay.
I'd say. Yeah. I also really love opening them and sharing them with people because I like to see people's reaction as they're drinking it.
Yeah.
Because that helps me determine if I'm doing a good job or not. But I would say the old fashioned, and for sure when the daiquiri comes out, that's going to be up there as well. But for now, it'd be the old fashioned or the improved whiskey cocktail.
Awesome. Well, let's give it a try.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Salud. Cheers, guys.
I mean, I feel like it's biased to be like that's my favorite because I'm normally a whiskey person. That's really great. That is really good quality old fashioned. I grew up in a college town. When you order an old fashioned in a college town, you never know what you're gonna get.
Oh
right? Yeah. So this drink's just like a classy bartender made it. It's a very classic recipe.
Yeah, you gotta get one for
Nick off camera. Yes. Join us. Say hello. Yeah. You can show your face. Yeah. By the way, Nick was the one that kind of made this happen. So thank you so much for being here. So hopefully more with you soon.
Yeah, absolutely, guys.
Oh, this is delicious. Yeah, this is so good.
Yeah, I mean it's real easy to drink. You taste full whiskey,
Yeah,
kind of like
so
spectrum.
spirit forward. I mean, with the garnish, that really just elevates it even further. That
Yeah.
orange twist just really made this taste just like a really high-end cocktail bar
Thank you.
in a glass,
Appreciate
in a
it.
bottle.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's a fun one. It's a crowd pleaser. I haven't had anyone taste this yet and not like it.
Yeah.
So that's that's why anytime someone's like, "Oh, which one should I start with?" I always like, "Oh, just try the old fashioned, or just try the improved whiskey cocktail," which we'll get to in a sec.
Well, you said you started with the spirit forward ones when you guys were first developing. I'm curious, was the old fashioned or the Manhattan the first one that you
We
guys
launched
started with?
all four at the same time.
Okay.
I can't remember which one I came up with first.
Like the first concept when you were first thinking about it.
But we were definitely old fashioned. Must have been one of the first ones. But it was a lot about like, can we source these ingredients? And before COVID, it was very, very, very difficult to source ingredients because a lot of distilleries and purveyors were like, we could just sell our own stuff. Why would we sell it to you?
Yeah, no, for sure. And then be able to bottle it at like a $15 price point. I mean, again, talking about the high end bars, like $15 for
one cocktail, maybe.
Yeah. You got like.
Oh, I meant like, if you if you go to the bar.
Oh yeah.
You're spending 15,
exactly.
$16
Yeah.
to get it.
That's what I'm saying. So this could probably give you about three from one bottle. That's incredible value. It's if you're curious how a good old fashioned tastes, maybe you live in a college town like I grew up in, and you really are curious how an old fashioned tastes. Maybe give this a try because this is exactly like I expected.
Appreciate that.
So good. Here's another question: if sourcing the ingredients or keeping things stable wasn't an issue, what cocktail would you like to be able to make in the future? Oh, that's a fun one.
That's a really good question. Hold on, let me see it again.
Yeah.
If sourcing the ingredients or keeping things stable wasn't an issue, like I don't know, like a tiki cocktail or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like
those are all like fruit juice, right?
Yeah, like the bombest Mai Tai you've ever had in your life. But you just
I love a good Mai Tai.
And you just pour it onto pebble ice, and it's just like instant Mai Tai. And you put on the label on the front, instant Mai Tai.
I will say, like, I've seen other brands that do a ready to drink that do a Mai Tai, and it never tastes like a Mai Tai.
Yeah,
like,
I can't speak on that, but
no shade to those brands. Like, I love the brand, but it doesn't taste like a Mai Tai. I'll be honest, it doesn't taste like a Mai Tai.
We're trying to hit them and then have people be like, this tastes
right. You don't want people to taste this. This doesn't taste like an old fashioned. Like that's definitely not the case here.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really incredible. Someone asked, "What's your favorite so far?" This is my favorite so far, but I'm biased because I'm a whiskey drinker.
He's a whiskey
Sorry,
guy. That's why I had to end on whiskey. That's why. It's like get the other ones out of the way. I know what this guy.
But listen. I love a good cocktail. I love a good like craft quality cocktail, and I think everything so far has been exceptional.
Thank you, dude. We appreciate
now
it.
This one I'm very curious about. This last one we have here, the improved whiskey cocktail. I saw the name. I didn't look into it. I wanted to be surprised. What is an improved whiskey? First, what is it? Two, why?
So it's a fun cocktail, man. It's a improved whiskey cocktail is just an old fashioned variation. So I'm sure there's people out there that could take you deeper into this, but from my understanding, it's a cocktail from the late 1800s, and it was more of a style of a drink, kind of like an old fashioned. So improved whiskey cocktail uses sugar instead. Uses Marasca maraschino liqueur instead of sugar.
Oh, okay.
And uses rye whiskey instead of bourbon, and still uses Angostura bitters. But usually it's garnished either with a lemon or a cherry.
Okay. I'll show the glass. Yeah, we didn't show that.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
So this is the improved whiskey cocktail. Rye whiskey. They said there's the maraschino liqueur and the bitters. Is it Angostura bitters as well?
It's real Angostura. And the part that we're really happy about, is we have the Marasca.
Right, the name on there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You can reach it closer than I guys. I can't reach that far. There we
go. And the reason that's important, to me and to bartenders is like that. If you're looking for a Marasca or a cherry liqueur behind the bar for certain things, especially classic cocktails, Marasca is one that bartenders always reach for. So that was the first collaboration we did with an established brand for Knox and Dobson, and it meant a lot to me. And we're really proud to have that on our label. And so it shines right through the cocktail. And I think this one is different to the other ones because it's a classic cocktail, but it's more underground. So I'm sure a bunch of your followers are familiar with it.
I'm not. As a whiskey person, I've actually never heard of it. I mean, I've swapped out rye whiskey for bourbon in an old fashioned, but I've never had it with the bitters, or sorry, not the bitters, the maraschino liqueur. Yeah, that.
Yep.
So I'm very curious to see how that is.
Should we break open the rubber duckies? I think so. It's fine. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. I just realized it's got a Santa hat on.
Oh my gosh. Limited edition. There we go.
Yeah, it's a rubber ducky with a Santa hat.
That's awesome. collect them all. Maybe.
Thank you, Penny Pound. This is still just sitting in the fridge from last time they come over. But the reason I think it's cool, man, is it's the one cocktail that is from the classic from that era, late 1800s.
Sure.
But it's not a super well-known cocktail. So much so that all these cocktails have to get approved with the TTB before we launch them to get our labels and recipes approved. So when we submitted this recipe to the TTB, they knocked us back the first time, which is the only cocktail out of our lineup that had been knocked back at all.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and they said, "Oh, this isn't a cocktail that we recognize. It's not a real cocktail."
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Really? I know the TTB's they're sticklers for things, but wait, so you can't like make up a cocktail?
Yeah, you can, well, I think that's the feedback we got. So,
okay.
I'm pretty sure you can, but anyway, that's the feedback we got.
Interesting. Very weird.
When we submitted, they came back and said, "Yeah, it's not a cocktail name that we recognize." And so I pulled up my bartender's straps and I twisted my mustache.
Actually,
yeah. And I went and I find this, and so I found it in writing from the 1800s, and we emailed it to the TTB and said, "Well, it's actually a real cocktail. Like here it is in print from like 1886 or whatever."
Yeah.
And they came back and said, "Yeah, okay, yeah, we'll recognize it. It's approved." So that's how the cocktail came to be. Is initially they didn't want to verify it, but now it's verified.
No, that's awesome. Yeah. So Zover says that sounds like one I would really like. Tony says I've seen the improved whiskey cocktail on YouTube, but never tried one.
It's really fun, man. You get a lot of depth out of that cherry. It takes you It takes the like an old fashioned. You have those really dense spice flavors from the Anglo, and you have the sweetness, and then you get the whiskey. But with the improved, it's like you get the rye, takes you deep into that spice realm, and then you go straight into this. It's a sweetness, but it's not overly sweet, but it's aromatic. That's the difference with the Marasca, is like cherry is aromatic. Anyway,
I can't wait to try it. So it's a good point from Adriana. She says, once getting into neat whiskey, we're mostly too lazy to make cocktails. Hence, these are perfect.
Yeah, you already know. Yeah,
we're so used to just pouring and drinking. Yeah. Another comment. The rubber ducky is what makes these improved. Oh, that's another take.
You already know. I'm going to put it on the label for next time.
Awesome. Well, I'm so excited. Your description sounds amazing. I cannot wait to try this. So let's go give it a try.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Thank you so much. Salud.
Thank you all for watching.
Cheers, Salud.
Different but similar. To me, this one is like, it kind of has like a, to me, the whiskey's coming off like more nutty. Like I'm getting more nutty profile from it. Do you think it's from the liqueur? Or maybe just like you said, you guys get the whiskey from different places. So like, is it maybe it could be the whiskey or it could be the.
Yeah, I think it's probably a combo kind of action. But I think the Angostura, yes, Nick, I would never forget you.
By the way, I did the cheers towards the camera because you were filming. We have a photographer here, so if you guys want to buy the photos, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so I think that nuttiness probably a combo, right? Like from the Angostura and the rye. That rye has that dry heat, and then that. Oh,
that's right. I forgotten that it was a rye.
Right, yeah. And then with the Ango, and then that aromatic part of the Marasca just sort of it kicks you to a high note before you come back down. So.
Oh yeah, I can definitely like compared to even the Manhattan, like the rye whiskey stands out on this one as well. I think I was interpreting it as nutty. I don't know why. Like that was what.
I could taste it too. It's in there. Yeah.
Yeah, but like now that I'm like, oh yeah, it's rye whiskey. Like I do get some of those more spicy minty. I always get like a little bit of mint on a rye whiskey. Yeah. But I think it's kind of
like oiliness. Yeah.
But I think it's pairing with that cherry note as well.
This one in the book, in the recipe, it can get a lemon or a cherry. I forgot to put either, but
it's okay.
Still tastes good.
Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah. Oh, it's I've never had one of these, so I'm glad to have a chance to try it.
You go to your craft cocktail bar that really likes making classic cocktails. You ask them for improved, they'll make you one. But
I'll give it a try now. Yeah. That's how you know it's like it's a good bar, right? Like if they don't know what I'm talking about, then they're like, no, they're not a legit bar.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. That'll be the test.
Yeah. So we have only about like 5 minutes left. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to let us know.
Absolutely.
My question is, you kind of tease a little bit of like what's next. I mean, do you guys have like anything coming up, or maybe events or something you guys are participating in, or anything you guys want to promote?
Totally. Yeah. Thank you. We've had some big news lately. We just got a double gold for this cocktail, the improved whiskey cocktail.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you, dude. Oh yeah. Salud. We just got a double gold for this in the San Francisco World Spirits Awards. That's the highest medal we've ever received. Feels weird talking about it,
No, go for it.
But we're super stoked on that. 70 judges all agreed that it gets a gold medal, and that's what gives us the double gold.
Mhm.
So that was pretty cool. That was for the RTD cocktail category. So that was really cool. And then we just got a double gold or a gold for the Moscow Mule in the New York World Spirits Competition. So
Gotcha.
those are two cool things that have happened recently. As far as tastings go, we have a big launch coming up in October that we're really excited about, and that's to celebrate the double gold with the San Francisco Spirit Awards. So we'll go up there and we'll do a big activation with them at kind of like a larger tasting format.
Got it.
Like
Okay.
convention kind of format.
Yeah.
So we've been doing some of that. We do pop up at a lot of stuff with like LA Mag, and we do a lot of events and cocktail events in LA. And later this year, we're going to be doing some cool parties in that. You know, we have this awesome space that we're in now, our Knox and Dobson warehouse. It's like a 6,000 square foot warehouse in East Pasadena.
I was going to say, yeah, it's huge.
It's
like,
big,
yeah.
So for all of our friends, you know, in LA and people coming through, we're going to do an event soon to like pop off with the Moscow Mule. So we'll definitely reach out to you, and if there's a way to, you know, invite and kind of bring people together. Yeah, so we're always down. We're always doing things. We pop up. We do a lot of wet and dry tastings with accounts that we're already in.
Okay.
And we're down to go hit any accounts that, you know, people are like, yo, you guys should be at this hotel, and you send us the link. We're going to go follow up that lead. We follow up every lead, and also hit us up on Instagram. You know, we're on Instagram at Knox and Dobson, spelled out KNOXANDDOBSON. And
I reposted their story earlier. By the way, make sure, go give them a follow. They're killing it.
That. We're very small. We're starting. You know, it's like a team of 7 now. A year ago it was a team of 3, or no, a team of 4. So we really appreciate things like this, and all of you guys' support. So thank you.
So Joseph joined us a bit late. He's saying like how much and where can I find it. So retail is around $15. It depends where you are. Joseph's in Washington State, which is a little difficult.
Yeah,
but you can
send it up there. Yeah,
oh, really? Okay.
State, yeah.
But then thank you, Donnie, for dropping the link to the website there. Yeah, you can check it out there, see where they're available. You can actually also buy them on the website as well. Make sure everyone's saying to hit the thumbs up before you leave. I appreciate you guys. You guys are doing the work for me. I appreciate that. So no, everyone's saying thank you for joining. Tony says, I hope to try these. Available in Chicago.
Not yet. Oh, actually, yeah. Sorry. From our website. Yeah. They are.
Okay, was it nice?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Thanks for shouting out Chicago. So just a quick thing before we go.
Wait, is that a thing? I just thought it was a typo.
Yeah. No. Well, so Knox and Dobson, we never discussed this.
Why didn't I ask that? That's a great question.
Yeah,
wow.
That's a good question. So my partner, Rob Levy, and Leslie Levy, Rob grew up in Chicago on the corner of streets, Knox and Dobson, Southside Chicago. And they, you know, it's an area that him and his mates grew up together and played in the street and hung out. And we were trying to come up with a name for this brand. We had the recipes and we had the bottle design. We had everything, but we were trying to figure it out. And he just came to me one day and said, what do you think about Knox and Dobson? I didn't even know what it meant. And I just turned around and I was like, bro, that's it.
It rolls off the tongue.
Yeah,
no, it's a great name.
That's it. That's what we're doing. So maybe one day we'll do a big block party on the street corners.
That's awesome. Well, if I was a better interviewer, I would have asked you that question earlier.
No, all good. And we still got to it though.
Yeah, there we go. Thanks to these guys in the chat. Well, if you're watching the chat live or if you're watching the replay, I know a lot of you guys catch it tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. Peter, thank you so much for being here. It's so much fun.
Appreciate you.
Thank you for sharing this with us. I can't wait to see what you guys are up to in the future. I can't wait to see these on the shelves. I need to start searching through my liquor stores here in Southern California. Check your local stores, check their website to find out where you can find this. But until next time, this has been Bourbon Bites. Thank you all so much for watching.
Thank you guys.
Yes, I will see you next Thursday night. I'm not sure what I'm doing. I'm going to be on vacation the day after, so it might be a pretty chill stream, but, you know, we'll see what we do. But, yes, if you guys want more streams like this, you know, on locations, like I said earlier, a little bit harder to find out here in Southern California, but I love finding brands like this. And these guys have given me some recommendations from other places nearby, too. So we're going to have to check those out. But thank you all for watching.
Thank you guys.
Yes, I will see you Friday for the movie night, those of you that are on Patreon. And otherwise, cheers, and I will see you next live stream.
Cheers, man.
Yes, cheers.
Thank you.